Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Couch GMs podcast. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. I'm your host, George Kurt, joined by the one and only Cody Roadcap. How you doing today, Cody?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to this part 2 episode. If you are catching us on YouTube, you'll know the previously recorded above it, and I'm wearing the same shirt. So we recorded this right after our last one.
The time machine. This is kind of cool.
We did. So hopefully everyone is staying safe out there. They have not caught the parasite, which apparently stems from Taco Bell. So,
I mean, I want to know how they can figure out if it was just Taco Bell or if it was this.
Yeah, that's a valid point. But there's now a CNN article that I got a Twitter notification.
It's over a week old at this point.
Which is over a week old, reminder. But it was why we're going live on our last episode, so I had to bring it up now. So maybe that's the weekly news breaking, but they identified the farm that has supplied the bad lettuce to Taco Bell. So
feel bad for Taco Bell a little bit, actually, but that's...
Hey, it still slaps when you need it.
It does. I don't need it all that often, but when I need it, I need it.
It's like the most interesting man in the world kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
Taco Bell.
Drink responsibly, everybody. But I'll go through the spiel here. So make sure you are following us at the Couch GMs on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok to get even more idea from the show here. You can watch us live Monday or on Thursdays, not Mondays yet. That's coming back later. Thursdays at 6:30 East on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can join into the conversation. Obviously, this episode is previously recorded, so feel free to drop those comments and we'll respond to you in the comments. But Cody and I cannot see it as it's going on here live. With that being said, if anything happened in the last week that's worth noting, why don't I talk about it right here?
Oh man, George, that was some good information. Thank you for covering that. I'm sorry that I missed it. Maybe you were giving a full
Crazy
breakdown.
Stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, almost as crazy. We didn't talk about it last week, but new season of quarterback has dropped.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I have seen the clip of Joe Flacco's kid stands talking to his mom, talking about how he's going to be upset if his dad goes off because he benched him. I'm like, that's my guy. Benching his dad while he's going to the game, worrying about his fantasy team.
I mean, we should give him the honorary Couch GMs tag, have him come on the show and talk.
Probably won't happen, but maybe one day.
Yeah, right. Here we go. I mean, we weren't famous enough to get invited to the royal wedding a few weeks ago. It was very unfortunate, but we'll get there.
One day.
One day.
I mean, I saw Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, those podcast, Busting with the Boys.
Yep.
Shout out to them. I don't think they got invited either. So, and we're not on their level by any means.
I mean, we're close, but not quite there.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
It's like golfing with a plus 30 handicap and saying we're close.
I swear you were going to say like golfing with the plus 30 handicap boys.
Is that a thing?
No, but the way that my brain was like, why is he saying it this way?
That's going to be our golf podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't golf, so it's going to be great.
The plus 30 handicap boys. It already writes itself. New intro.
Nice. I like it. That's another thing that gets to the show Kempy is better at than us at. So let's have him help us there too.
Look, there's nothing that I'm better at than Kempy. Shout out.
That's very, we survive here.
Should we do our top 100?
Draw on my whiteboard. That was my wife. So
I wasn't going to call it out. I noticed it last week, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Meaning 20 minutes ago.
I'm trying to play the bit for the audience, okay? It's been a week. We're into the future.
We've already blown that, but yes, it has been a week. And yeah, I'm ready to continue our top 100.
Is the wildfire still happening? Is it still hazy outside on the East Coast?
Let us know in the comments because we don't know.
We don't. And George will read them. Me, 50-50.
I am the social media guy. You guys are welcome. Yeah, let's do top 100.
Now we're a year behind.
2025. today we are going to do the top 40 of our 2026 fantasy football top 100. We're going to break them down. Do you want to do 5s or 10s today, sir?
Let's do 10s to get us started, and then once we get in that top 25 range, we can cut it down to 5s.
So top 30, because okay, got it. We're going to start with 10s.
I guess to 20 if you want.
Okay,
make it easy.
that's fine too. Whatever. We're on the fly here. So as a reminder, if you missed our show last week, go back and check it out. We did 100 to 41 in that episode. We are doing fantasy rankings. Cody and I do half PPR. So this is basically our top 100 half PPR rankings to help us get ready for our mock drafts that are coming up in August. Make sure you're subscribed to see all of those. And I mean, with it being a fantasy ranking, like, it could be a little different than your just top 100, or, I mean, I'm sure we are way different on some things, not only from each other, but from other consensus rankings, and we're going to give our reasons on why we have guys ranked where we do as we go into this. Did I miss anything?
Nope. Just if you want to see all 100, George's going to put it in the description.
Yes, and I will have them posted on our socials. Give us a follow there, and tell us why we are wrong, because that's my favorite thing to argue with Bears fans specifically on the internet, but anybody that thinks we're wrong, it's a great time.
Let's do it.
Starting at number 40, I'm going to read the 40 to 31. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson is on here at 40. Davante Adams at 39. Emeka Ibuka at 38. Dallas running back Javonte Williams at 37. And then Rashee Rice at 36. Ladd McConkey, 35. Breece Hall up to 34. Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson are back-to-back, 33 and 32. And then Kyron Williams rounds it out, 31. Who do you want to talk about out of this group?
I'm going to start with number 40. And that is one Garrett Wilson. I think that might still be too high. I think the talent of player is, like, it should be higher. The talent of the team and the players around him. And maybe I'm a little bit scarred about last year. I mean, we can talk about him and his teammate Breece Hall, you know, both in here, like, both players that have the skill level to be top 15 picks, but they are on the New York Jets with Geno Smith as the captain quarterback of that team. And they are going to be hard guys, even in this range, for me to buy in on. I think those are guys that I'm not going to have a lot of shares in. And I think that's okay to acknowledge your own personal situations of, like, hey, that's not my guy. I understand, respect while he's getting this number. But he's just the guy I'm going to be out of. And I think that plays into our rankings a little bit too. Like, obviously I'm not going to put Breece Hall at 60 because he's not a guy I'm going to draft, but he's not a guy I'm going to draft.
So, yeah, the interesting thing about this, we've been talking ADP a lot over the last few weeks, especially when we were doing my guys. It's like we're talking about guys that we like higher than their ADPs. And now we're almost on the flip side of, like, guys that we like less than their ADPs. And it's like we acknowledge that both of them have top 15 potential, which is why they're still in our 30s. But I agree with you. Like, I'm not going to have a lot of shares of them because where we have them is right around or slightly lower where they are on most ADP or consensus boards. Like, in the past, I have not had a lot of shares of Garrett Wilson. I feel like when I've had shares of Garrett Wilson, it's been like I was going zero wide receiver and I was trying to stack up assets with upside. And that's probably going to be the same way this year if I ever have him. It's in that kind of situation. I've been a little bit more in on Breece Hall, but it's soured because of how bad the team around him's been, and when a defense can focus on him, it's just not good. Geno Smith doesn't really move the needle for me anymore like he did, like when we were saying, oh, he's going to Vegas, but he's been good in Seattle. Like how bad he was in Vegas, like I'm thinking it was Seattle that was making him better, not Geno Smith making Seattle better. And I think that's where I'm at still when he goes to the Jets.
Yeah, they brought in another rookie wide receiver, not in the top 100, but he's going to be in there. They brought in the rookie tight end. So there's going to be some new faces into the offense. Maybe that helps, you know, take away from Garrett Wilson, but I think it'll have to be a couple of weeks of those guys making an impact before that, you know, shades away from Garrett Wilson and the aforementioned Breece Hall. But yeah, and then Lamar Jackson, second highest quarterback rated here in the top 30, right around the top of the third round in your 10-man league. So makes sense. Or I guess the fourth round in 10-man, third round 12.
I want to mention Davante Adams here because, yes, we have him down here in this mix at 39. I just want to talk about Cody's my guy. I'm also very high on him. We have him 10 spots higher than the consensus on Fantasy Pros. So I think a guy that both of us are going to have a lot of shares of just based on we like him better than his ADP.
Yeah, and he's your guy this year. He was my guy last year.
You're right. I was making the joke. I thought he was going to be your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I still love Davante Adams.
Yes.
The only reason he's not my guy is because I think there will be some regression for touchdowns. Like he had, 17 last year? So let's say he gets to double digits. He drops 7. I mean, that's 40 points off total score. So probably falls down a couple spots. But, yeah, I think Davante – the Rams are on all-in mode. Stafford's coming off an MVP season. Like, this is one of those things where I just think people are getting too cute with Davante Adams.
Yes, 100% agree with that statement, and I think this is
I don't think Jordan.
Where I think he should be.
I don't think Jordan Whittington is going to eat away at his snaps.
No, it's just going to be Puka. But I mean, it was just as full last year in that room as it was now this year. And if you take away even some of the regression, he was a top 10 wide receiver. We have him. I didn't count wide receivers in front of him, but he's somewhere still around 20. Mm-hmm. We're accounting for regression and still have him here, and he's still lower on most rankings than we have him. So,
yeah. Unless the Rams just don't play in the fourth quarter some weeks because their defense is so good.
They didn't last year, and it didn't matter. And that was the argument I was making actually in the comment section over on TikTok. So make sure you're going and joining if you disagree with that, and go fight me some more. But they didn't play in the fourth quarter most of last year, and it didn't matter.
But all right.
And on flip side, it's similar thing here on Kyren, having him down here at 31. So that's 4th round in 10 teams, 3rd round in 12 teams. He's been way high, I think even a little bit higher most years, and he had a great year, and we realize that he's splitting with Blake Corum still, but this still feels like a great spot for him with his touchdown potential.
Yeah. And I still don't think it's a true split.
It's Kyren gets 3 drives, Blake Corum gets 1, and even not always a full drive. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah. So I would still take it. I mean, the Rams could definitely be the team that everyone, win the offseason, they fall apart, someone gets hurt, it doesn't work out, doesn't pan out. But the Rams feel like a team that I want a piece on my fantasy team. So which one are you going to get?
And there's not really a bad choice.
Exactly.
They're all favorably or underrated. So you're getting them at value, in my opinion, or you're getting them at a discount. So that's why, yeah, I agree with you. I'll take any of them.
All right.
I'll switch to 5s quick just to break it down a little bit. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this 5 if you don't want to. At number 30, we have T. Higgins, and then we have Devontae Smith at 29, Chris Olave at 28, rookie running back Jeremiah Love at 27, and Josh Allen at 26.
Wow, I'm actually surprised I'm higher on Jeremiah Love than you.
Yeah, and I'm higher than consensus. So both of us are high on Jeremiah Love.
It's honestly, what was the stat you read last week, or I guess technically 2 weeks ago?
Running backs drafted in the top 10 in the NFL draft have finished as an RB1 every single season since at least 2010.
Yeah, so an RB1 again is a top 12 running back. You're getting him at 20. Where we have him right now, 27.
27, and in ADP or overall ranking, he's in the low 30s or in the high 30s. So a little lower than we have him even.
I think that'll be some value there. I get the Cardinals are really bad, and if they were going to be a team to break that trend, it would be them.
Yeah. People are mostly worried about how full that backfield is, and I get it. There's 6 names that you can understand in that backfield. They're not all going to be there when the season starts, and they're not all going to get carries.
Yeah, and the guy they took with the 3rd pick, the highest running back ever, most guaranteed money ever for a running back, isn't the guy I'm worried about not getting carries.
No, it's going to be worst case scenario. He is going to be the Bijan to the Algier back when Bijan was a rookie, and he was still a top 10 running back. And It's funny because Algier is going to be the 2.
Yep.
Like, I don't see a problem. Exactly.
Like, on your consensus rankings, since you have that up, where is him compared to Breece Hall? Like, running backs on bad teams.
So Jeremiah Love's at 31. Breece Hall's at 38.
Okay, so they're a little bit about the same gap as we have them.
Yeah, he is 2 spots, 1 running back above Kyron.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and then I think the trio of Olave, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins are all valued at a pretty good spot. I think some people might say Smith is higher now that he is the number 1. I just think there's still a lot of, trepidation with Hurts the passer. Yep. And how does Smith handle the number 1 role? Like, say what you want about A.J. Brown. He did, demand some coverage. So I think that's why he's there as well. But Smith's another one of those guys. He's probably that high upside one of the trio that you're going to want to take, that I would take, because there is the potential, if you're bought in on, the improvement by subtraction.
I agree. I think, I still have him down where he's at because I'm concerned with 1, the changing offense, and 2, Hurts the passer. But it's interesting because I think him and Higgins have been very close in ADPs and rankings for the last 4 years, because they've always been the wide receiver 2 on a good offense that's going to get yards. And now it's like Smith obviously is the wide receiver 1, and that gave him the bump at least 2 spots in my rankings over T. Higgins, 1 spot on our consensus. But he's still down there just because of the uncertainty. He definitely has more upside than T, though. You're right.
Maybe. Like, that Eagles offense was atrocious at times last year. And they lost their first or second best playmaker on offense.
He still had 1,000 yards in a bad year, too, though, as a wide receiver, too. So it's like, yes, no, I'm saying, the upside, I think, is higher because he could be a wide receiver 1, but I'm not saying he's going to beat T. Higgins.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I think Higgins is good enough. We don't think the Bengals, defense is going to, they're going to have to score points again. They're going to throw the ball around the yard. Obviously, not thinking about quarterback injuries, which, plays a factor into T. Higgins' values typically. But, if you saw Higgins and Chase finish as a Nakua and Adams did a year ago, that's still a higher upside than a wide receiver 1. That's all I was saying.
No, yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. Before we jump out of this group, Josh Allen is our top-rated quarterback on our list at 26. Just wanted to throw that one out there. So him and Lamar Jackson were the top 2, and Lamar was in the last group at 32.
Should that be the case? I guess it should be the case.
Who else would you throw up there?
No, I'm just wondering if I'm being the NFL 100 list and being too disrespectful to Lamar Jackson.
I don't think it's disrespect to have Lamar Jackson behind Josh Allen, since I think Josh Allen has been a little more consistent, and as high of a ceiling as Lamar has, I almost feel like Josh Allen's been higher. You got to remember, he had 3 or 4 straight weeks of 40-plus points last year.
That's fair. I'm not as high on Buffalo this year.
Mm-hmm. Even though they added another legit wide receiver. I guess how legit is DJ Moore at this point in his career, but at least it's added something with veteran experience on.
Yeah, that move didn't move the needle for me. It was just another guy. So I guess that's kind of where I think that, I guess they have the benefit of playing the Jets and the Dolphins. So yeah. Allen should be number 1.
Yeah. If you went out there and told me you drafted Lamar over Allen in a draft, I wouldn't be absolutely furious either, though.
I think they're tier 1 in terms of fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. They fell a little bit separated here on our actual consensus rankings, but take your pick if you're drafting a quarterback around that spot.
Cool.
25 to 21, we've got at number 25, another one of my guys, Tet McMillan. We have Ken Walker, the new Kansas City running back, at 24. Brock Bowers at 23. George Pickens at 22, and Trey McBride at 21. So our top 2 tight ends fall into this bracket of 5.
That's a good spot. Just out of curiosity, before we break down these players, I know we're definitely both adamant on take a quarterback late.
Yep.
And we also tend to favor take a tight end late too. But we do typically say if you're going to take one of them early, just take one of them. Don't take both positions because they're only one spot on your roster. I guess technically you could play 2 tight ends if you want to be really crazy out there. I don't know who's doing that in the year of 2026. But where do you lean on, and we have McBride 1, we have Allen 1. Obviously, our rankings have them a little bit higher. But you're on the clock, and maybe we'll see this next month when we're doing mock drafts. And you're debating between Josh Allen and Trey McBride. Which one do you think you would actually go with in the moment for building a team?
I think my rankings will speak for I would take McBride over Josh Allen. I think a lot of it has to do with the tight ends, even though I did talk up last week how that group of tight ends that's just outside or just at the end of the top 100, that's a solid. You can grab 2 guys and go. I still think the drop off from Trey McBride to where Travis Kelce or Dallas Goedert is at this point is bigger than, even though Josh Allen could drop 40, you could end up taking Patrick Mahomes around that 100 mark as well. And if he rebounds, he could still score you high 20s a week. I think the gap is still wider at tight end. So I would take the early tight end before I'd take the early quarterback. That is the only 2 guys I would put in that tier for the tight end is McBride and Bowers.
See, this year specifically, the more I think about this, I think the rankings are right. And I think if, let's just say I'm sitting there at pick 25, so the middle of the 3rd round in a 10-man league, the top of the 3rd round in a 12-man league. And I'm looking at my team, and let's say, just for hypotheticals, I got myself a wide receiver and a running back. I feel balanced. If I'm looking at my team, I think there is a part of me that would take Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson over them. And I say that this year, and, come August, we'll know better. But how late, George Kittle's going, Tucker Kraft is going, I think those 2 are closer to the top tight ends that it might just be more fun to take a Josh Allen. Maybe that's not the best analytics, but that's just kind of how my brain's sitting here thinking about it in the current moment.
No, I mean, that's a good point, too, because I can probably go out there and name you 3 quarterbacks who are I'm confident these guys could average in the 20s in points. But tight ends, you're not normally oh, I know these 2 have the ability to get double-digit points a week down there at that spot. But those 2 are probably the outliers this year. And, I mean, injuries has something to do with it. Both of them coming off the injury, Kittle with the injury history. But that's a great point that both of those guys have just as much of a shot to finish as a top 3 tight end, even more so than some of those guys, the quarterbacks I was naming lower, finishing as a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah. One of our 700 mock drafts we're doing we're not actually doing 700, but we're doing a lot. I'm going to take Josh Allen in the 3rd round if he's still there and see which tight end I can get. That's going to be one of my goals to play out. The only other thing I want to talk about the tight end here, and it comes to Trey McBride. We are all assuming that Jacoby Myers is still going to be the quarterback, although 100%. He is the thing. Is there any concern to maybe take Brock Bowers over him if they come mid-August? We're going to go with the rookie and Carson Beck and see what it is.
I think he's the kind of player that elevates whatever around him. He obviously hasn't played with a ton of quarterbacks, but I don't think that he's really missed a beat no matter who's been in there. So I'm not super worried. The other thing that obviously it stinks because we're talking highly on Brock Bowers for a good reason, but if Kirk doesn't start and they go with Mendoza, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You don't really necessarily know what you're going to get out of Kirk at this point in his career because he's an aging quarterback, but You have to feel at least a little more confident in that way. So maybe it's worst case scenario if they say they're going Carson Beck and then the Raiders say they're going Fernando Mendoza. And I know Mendoza being a first overall pick, obviously we hope he's good. But it's a big uncertainty when you're going to put that much stock into a tight end in the mid-20s.
Yeah. Just an interesting dilemma. And I mean, I'm still team Trey McBride.
Me too. I think he's fine regardless, but you bring up a good point.
Yeah. All right. And shout out AJ Brown at 20.
Okay, we didn't even get to him yet, so.
Oh, that's right. I always forget, again, obviously don't know how to work a spreadsheet, but when I hear, I think we're doing 20 to 25, but that's 6 players, so.
That is 6 players.
My bad.
Super quick, both having Ken Walker in the mid-20s. We think Kansas State's going to be able to run the ball again?
I had him one spot up. No, I had Jeremiah Love above him, so I would take Jeremiah Love over him.
Okay. Let's go to 20 to 16. As Cody spoiled, A.J. Brown is at 20, and then Omarion Hampton at 19, Chase Brown at 18, Ashton Jeanty at 17, and Derrick Henry at 16. And I do want to talk a little bit of disrespect in the overall rankings again, because, I mean, maybe it's not as far of a drop-off as we've seen on some of these others, but we both have Derrick Henry at, I have a 17, you at 16. He's down at 23 in consensus rankings. And, I mean, I get it. There's got to be a point we all think that Derrick Henry starts to fall off, but he seems like he's still old reliable on a really good offense, and he's going to get carries, and they have him going in the 3rd round in 10-team leagues.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it to a degree. I mean, even like our rankings, like we have this quad of running backs together. Like I think in my rankings, they're literally 16, 17, 18, 19. And if you asked me to redo that this week instead of last week, I would probably put Omarion Hampton above of Jeanty. I'd actually probably switch those two. So, but that doesn't matter. We're nitpicking again.
This is a tier, is basically what you're saying.
Yes. And the consensus shows Derrick Henry as an RB2 on the year, and I think that I just think there's still the slight chance, even though he's right outside, for him to be not RB2. They just have him as a top 24 player, and that would still probably be a top RB1. So I think the
RB11, I guess, when you look at it that way on consensus rankings right now.
Yeah, so like he's still an RB1. Probably we're just a little bit higher, and that's just a little bit of the consistency. Like I think on the consensus, Jeanty is higher, and I think as the team of a whole of the Las Vegas Raiders, I would rather take the safety net of Derrick Henry over an Ashton Jeanty, and that's how we ranked him here.
Yeah, Jeanty is the opposite of Derrick Henry, as there must be expecting a big jump out of him in Vegas. He's all the way up at 12 RB6. We have him down at 17. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it is, you and I have them flip back and forth, by the way. I have Jeanty higher and Derrick Henry higher, but you could convince me to flip it. Like, do we like the upside or do we like feeling safe? Because Derrick Henry feels safe, and he has not failed this yet, so why would he start now?
Yeah, I think Derrick will be just fine.
Yeah, and maybe your first-round pick tries to figure out if you decide if you go Derrick Henry or Ashton Jeanty there. I mean, Chase Brown, Omarion Hampton falling in that same tier definitely makes sense as well. We hope that Chase Brown's more consistent if they get the full year of Joe Burrow. The sky's the limit with that offense, especially with having to score points with the defense being so bad. And then Omarion Hampton coming off of the injury in the middle of the rookie year, but when he played, he was good. So
remind me to talk about for the first 2 rounds. Once we reveal the top players, I don't want to spoil the list.
Yeah.
But I have a correction to make from what I said last week.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we can move on to 15 to 11 at least. Number 15, we have Nico Collins. 14 is Saquon Barkley. 13, Drake London. 12, Devon Achane. And 11, James Cook. And I think there's a couple of guys in this group that feel a lot more boom or bust than some of the guys in the group we just talked about. But the upside, obviously, is what put them above.
Yeah, I think upside, and I don't think like Drake London. I was trying to read your mind as one of the guys you're talking about because of the quarterback situation.
London and Achane were the two specifically. You might be able to put Saquon Barkley in there too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have him in that same running back tier as the other guys we just talked about.
So, yeah, I just think they all have higher, like, even though they're on work, like, especially like Drake London, like, he just proves time and time again that he's a top wide receiver. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He catches touchdown. He makes plays. He was paid this offseason. Like, injuries have been a little bit of a bugaboo for him, but I think Drake London is rightfully ranked.
Yeah, he is not. I don't think he's going to be somebody you're going to take him in the second round and be like, I love picking Drake London. But then when week 2 comes around and he gets his 25-point week with 2 touchdowns, you're going to be like, I love Drake London. You're not going to love drafting him because you're going to feel like, how consistent is he going to be? Is he going to stay healthy? But then as soon as the season gets going, you're going to like that pick. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah, I think he's like the young, and some people might think it's just respectful, like the Mike Evans. Like, no one was ever excited to draft Mike Evans, and they just constantly put up 1,000 yards, and you're like, I don't know why I overthought this. But I think Drake London's in a similar situation. He might not have the high end upside, but that Mike Evans did in his prime, but still worth mentioning.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could go back to 2025 and check out like where Davante Adams was going at that point. I can probably go back and try to find like where he was drafted in our league of record just to try to get like a baseline. But even though everything has kind of come crumbling down around him, it's interesting to me how he still finds himself right around the top 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was drafted, he's been a guy that's been drafted at the end of round 1, beginning of round 2. So I think that's similar, but that's because he is the running back and wide receiver on the Miami Dolphins. Like, he is the offense, him and Malik Willis. Like, they're not going to be very good, but if they do score, it's going to be him. Like,
he went
80% of the
third
time.
round, 24th overall in our league of record last year, just to try to give a baseline, I guess. So he's actually gone up in rankings more than likely compared to, like, when you consider everything that's gone on around him, it might be shocking. But he's the guy.
Yeah, there's not another Miami Dolphin in the top 200, probably.
You might find a wide receiver in the top 200 just because somebody has to catch a ball. Not saying we're going to love it, but I mean, he's probably going to fall in like the bottom of the 100s where it's in undrafted territory.
Exactly.
Or late round flyer.
No, I think the late round flyer is Malik Willis.
The late round flyer is Malik Willis, that is for sure.
He's the next player listed. So,
and if you're listening now, we're going to do late round flyers next week. So there's your teaser, and make sure you subscribe.
Didn't even know that.
I sent it to you in a text message earlier today.
I thumbs it up. So
yes, you did.
The only thing I'll mention too, like, there is the play caller change. Obviously, and Achane was a big factor into that. With the Mike McDaniel, but I think that's what makes Omarion Hampton so intriguing. Will he be used in a similar role? He's not quite the same style running back, but like, will he be used in the Achane role? And could he be like a high upside, league winner for your, the guy we're talking about potentially as a top 10 pick, top 5 pick next year?
No, that's very true. I completely forgot about the Mike McDaniel's effect on Omarion Hampton, and that makes me love him down at 19 even more. And does it make you concerned a little bit more about Achane? Maybe, but the fact that he has the explosion at this point in his career, especially to still take any carry to the house, he doesn't need a lot to be as successful as he has been. So
yeah,
I
What's
still
next?
think I'm happy with having him there. We're going to break into the top 10 next. And number 10 is Justin Jefferson. 9 is CeeDee Lamb. 8 is Christian McCaffrey. 7, Jonathan Taylor. And 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think this group's changed a whole lot over the years. Jefferson has obviously fallen down into this group, but like Lamb's been in this situation for a while. Taylor's been kind of around here for a while. Amra has normally been a little closer to 10, but he's been in this group for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting tier, and I talked about last week, wanting to be in the second half of your drafts, and I think this is why like those players are very good. You pair a Justin Jefferson if you're in a 12-man league with a Saquon Barkley, like team bounce back, but definitely could be a team that would, really make some noise there too. So I like that double up ability. I think these players are all pretty, obviously they're all closely ranked. I think the biggest question is are you afraid of the Christian McCaffrey every other thing? And he had a really good year last year. Does that, should he be lower in that sense? Is Jonathan Taylor take a step back after his big year with potential Daniel Jones injury to start the season? Does CeeDee Lamb step up a little bit, or does George Pickens continue to eat into his thing? And then can Justin Jefferson bounce back? So they all have the questions. That's why they're at the bottom of the top 10, but don't overthink it and be like, oh, I'm going to go and take, AJ Brown and Drake May over CeeDee Lamb because of George Pickens. Like, don't do that.
No, 100% agree. Like, it's funny, this whole tier, it's like two guys who are going to finish in the top 10 in wide receivers, and that's why they're here. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. Like, they've just been models of consistency. And then it's like Jonathan Taylor has a legit shot to finish as RB1. Like, we've seen it before. He was on track to do it last year, and then the Daniel Jones injury kind of put it off track. Christian McCaffrey did finish as the number one overall scoring fantasy player last year, and the reason he's down at 8 is because people are like, we've been hurt by this before. It's the odd year. I guess the even year, technically, if you're looking at the actual like year number. We can't be bothered with like how risky it is if he's going to stay on the field. And then Justin Jefferson had been the model of consistency until last year, and I hope that the quarterback situation is a little bit more stable, and I think he is going to bounce it back. So it almost feels like it could be a value for Jefferson, at least by a couple of draft spots. The fact that you can get him at the end of the first round on a turn in a 10 team, or like even a little bit later, and still get that earlier second round pick in a 12 team.
No, I think that's a good point.
And I almost feel like, as much as I don't want to like completely buy into the every other year thing with running backs, like I do have McCaffrey slightly lower than the average, but I'm still like optimistic he's going to be fine. But I did kind of buy into that a little bit on the Saquon ranking back in when I had him at 12, he was 14 consensus, because he's actually closer to 20 he's 19th on Fantasy Pros. We both had him a little bit higher, but I think we're both buying into like now he's a year separated from the 400 or 500 touches he had that one year, and now it's like he hopefully has a better offensive line. It's going to be better. So we still did kind of buy into that a little bit, even though we didn't put McCaffrey lower. We both put Barkley higher.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I'm just talking like I was more Christian McCaffrey injured every other season, and I guess that Saquon coming off all the touches and stuff like that. So I didn't even consider that for Saquon.
Because Saquon wasn't hurt, but there was definitely a dip in production.
Well, the offense sucked.
The offensive line was hurt, even though like not a lot of missed time. There was some missed time, but like it seemed like all of them were hurt. So even yet, there was still injury affecting it to an extent.
Yeah, I just think the offense was bad.
It was. And we can argue exactly what made it bad, but not the point of our discussion here. Anything else?
Nope.
6 to 10.
And you won't like my answer.
No. Well, the answer is Jalen Hurts in your mind, I'm sure.
I mean, I don't think he escapes unscathed. Like, I definitely think he plays a factor in it.
Definitely doesn't. For sure.
All right, let's hit our top 5.
Number 5, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba of the Seattle Seahawks. Number 4 is Rams receiver Puka Nacua. Jamar Chase stays in the top 5 at number 3. And then 2 and 1 are 2 running backs. And they're actually tied because we are split on the 2-1. It is Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. So, I mean, our list has Gibbs first, I'll give Cody the little nod there, sure. But honestly, I can see arguments for both.
Yeah, I think all 5 of these players can go in any order of 1 through 5.
I think JSN at 1 would be the biggest reach for sure.
He was Offensive Player of the Year last year.
It's true. It
He was
just
the number
feels
one
like
wide
if you're
receiver
going to
last
take a
year.
wide receiver, it feels better taking Chase or Nakua. But I guess, yeah, you're right. There's a world where JSN is the number 1 receiver.
I mean, he was last year. So I get, like, if you think he's going to regress a little bit, like, he's the youngest one of them that are up there, I believe. I don't know how he falls with Puka and Chase, but
Puka
I'm pretty sure
he's younger. They're pretty close, but Chase is older.
I mean, I think it's interesting. We both have the running backs there. Like, literally, it's a coin flip for me. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. Then the wide receivers. I would still take Chase that's how we had him ranked, but I think it's one of the most chalk in the sense of, like, if you have picks 1 through 5, you're locked. Like, I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting into pick 5.
No.
I don't think Jonathan Taylor is getting into pick 5.
No.
Like, I think there's a clear division. Like, the draft starts at 6. If there's a little shakeup between 2 and 3, okay, but the draft starts at 6.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably would make the argument of you put Gibbs 1 because you don't like Atlanta's offense as much, and that's 100% an understandable reason. But it's still, having Bijan at 2 shows that, like, we don't think he's going to have a problem regardless. He was good on a bad offense last year. And yeah, like...
And they both lost their number 2. We'll get to see how that plays out.
Who is number 2 in Atlanta right now? I honestly am blanking. Brian Robinson. They have the Robinson back.
Oh, the B. Robinsons, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't draft.
Fantasy PSA, make sure you're taking Bijan in the first round and not Brian Robinson from Atlanta, because they're both on the same team. I forgot about that. And then obviously we had some hope on Isaiah Pacheco, and like he didn't fall in our top 120, but he's obviously somebody who could be a late round flyer that pops up next week.
Sure. Maybe for you, not for me.
He does not believe that the split is going to exist anymore. It's going to be all Gibbs.
No, I think there'll be a split, but I'm just not saying, like, I'm not going to take Pacheco. That's not my guy. Not my late round flyer.
You can have more than one late round flyer. It's fine.
I could have 5, and Pacheco isn't going to be one of them. I could have 10.
We'll see who you have next week.
Hang on, I'll tell you who I'm gonna have next week as my late round flyer. Little tease.
Over here and spoil the entire episode in the last 15 minutes of this episode.
I'm gonna make it I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. Dang it! I was gonna Sione Vakai. Currently the number 3 running back for the Lions. That was the whole point of the joke, but it was bad because I couldn't pronounce the name.
Okay.
But I won't say anything else.
Okay. Anyway. But yeah, no, I agree with you that this top 5 is a tier. So if you're the person out there in fantasy drafts, and I'm not even convinced that this is the best draft strategy anymore, but I think years ago it probably was, that like you pick your top tier and you try to pick the draft position that's the lowest. Like, I'm getting one of these 5 guys and I'll figure it out in round 2. Pick 5 is your target this year.
Well, if you're playing real fantasy football, your order gets randomly selected 30 minutes before your draft opens, and then your league has fun. But
so this guy had fought for no kickers for the longest time, then he finally got no kickers, and now he has to try to find something else to fight about. So
hey, it's that no tight ends or 5 flex spots. I don't care which one you want to go with. 2 of those are, not actually things I'm fighting for. I'm not really fighting for anything. I know some people like to mock draft. I just think with the amount of platforms, and we're going to do a bunch of mock drafts. I probably shouldn't say that, but what are we, 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in? Yeah, we're 45 minutes in. Half the people have left by now. They heard our number 1. They've checked the description for the full 100. like if you're not mock drafting with your league, like it's gonna be so different in every league. Like some guys are gonna love players more than others. We've been in leagues where the quarterbacks go early. We've been in leagues for quarterbacks. Josh Allen falls to round 5 because everyone's afraid to pull the trigger. Like there's so
I mean, our
that's
league of
why
record draft a couple of years ago, I feel like the first quarterback went in round 4, and then the next quarterback didn't go to round 6, and it's like, what is happening?
So I guess my biggest component for finding out the order right before the draft is because if you're an avid fantasy football player, you can be water, you can be adaptive, because that's what you're gonna have to do anyways, because like we said, no mock draft's the same. If you're new to fantasy, welcome. Hope you enjoy the game. But when you start mock drafting because you found out you're going to be pick 4 3 weeks ago and you've done 15 mock drafts from pick 4, you pick the players that always appear, and now you get to round 3 and someone just took your guy and you don't know what to do. So I guess I think there is definitely our friend and Couch GM's World Cup member, former college professor Cliff Neal, 8 Ps, something about preparation.
Proper pre-production planning prevents piss poor performance.
Exactly. But I think in fantasy, if you get a little too carried away and aren't doing mock drafting and trying different things, then knowing your position can come back to hurt you. That's the only reason why.
That honestly is the best explanation to that you've said yet, and I agree with you. And I do think that there are situations where being able to pick a draft spot, or what we have in our league of record as a draft lottery, it adds something to the league where it's that's fun. But I do get what you're saying. It's you still want to prep or be fluid enough and know who is around the draft board enough that you don't fall into something specific. And I do want to say we do, for the most part, except for in the Champions League now of the Couch GM's World Cup that's going into year 4, where we had to make an incentive for people to keep playing, and that is being able to pick your draft spot in the order of where you finish in the standings. We were always playing with randomized when the draft room opened 30 minutes before the league, before the draft. So
yeah. All right. I do have a couple questions. That kind of plays into it. So last week's episode, I said I'm very much the end of the first round, get the top of the second round situation here. And
yes,
with the top 5 and looking at if I'm using our consensus top 30, or I guess I'll go to 36 if we do 3 rounds.
Okay.
I'm going to try to do this on the fly, so the numbers might not exactly line up. Let's start with a 10-man team. Okay. So team A, you have pick 3. So that would mean you would get Jamar Chase according to our rankings. Mm-hmm. Then you would have the 18th pick. I will allow you to take the number 19 player, so you don't have 2 Bengals. So you get Chase, Omarion Hampton, and then that would put you with Brock Bowers at 23. So that's your team of 3. Or would you rather have, let's say, CeeDee Lamb at 9, followed by Devon Achane at 12, and then come back with Devontae Smith, Chris Olave? Because of the Hampton thing, it's kind of man, having Chase that third round plays a bigger factor into it, I think, in this year.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you told me if you only went 2 deep and you were Chase and Hampton versus CD and Achane, I'd be Chase and Hampton all day. And then you go into that third round. It's interesting because we have so many tight ends at the top of the third round and stuff, and I almost feel the value in the third round is near the bottom of it.
Yeah, and if you want to take a guy a little bit lower, I know that makes it harder to keep track of, but
yeah.
So you don't want to take the tight end of Brock Bowers, you want to take Tet McMillan, right, as a second wide receiver. So your team is Chase, McMillan, Hampton, and you're going to get a tight end.
That's my pick.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. I think it gets a little bit different in your 12-man leagues, right? If you're the 12-man at CeeDee Lamb at 9, I'll pick the same person. So instead of getting Achane, you are now getting Derrick Henry, if my math is correct.
I believe so.
So, and then if you come all the way back down, you're pairing him with like Lamar, Zay Flowers, somewhere in that range.
Flowers, Lad McConkey kind of area.
Like that's kind of a thing too. So, I think pay attention to that of like where ADPs, and some of this will shift as we get closer. Some will get injured in training camp. Someone will break out.
Using our rankings here and not ADPs. I know that ours differ some. So
yeah, that's also true too. Like when we do our mock drafts the next couple weeks, we'll do sleeper because that's the one that we're going to use the most. There's no NFL, but we'll probably do a Yahoo one or something like that too. It's harder to get into the same lobby, but we're going to try to make it happen so we can see some different formats and different some ADPs as well too. So just something I noticed.
Go ahead.
I'd say just something I noticed was like, as we were doing that top 40, I was like, wait a second. If I followed my rankings and I could get Jamar Chase and Omarion Hampton, like, and maybe Hampton's not your guy. Maybe you want to go no running back and you want to get the AJ Brown and then pair him with, Jeremiah Love or something like that. Like, or Chase. Like, I was like, that's an interesting one where that top 4, like, I think it gets sketchy once you get down to like 5, right? Like if you're doing the middle, 5, 15, and you're doing Jackson Smith and Jigba, Nico Collins, Tet McMillan, like that one's not as exciting. I think that's where, so even though like
at a good team, but yeah, it's not as exciting.
Correct. So that like, we were talking about like pick your tier at the end. Maybe when you're like, if you do get to pick your team, pick one that's like, try to play the game. Don't just pick one. Like if your guy is, if your guy is Omarion Hampton, don't pick where he's the guy that's going to be at the top of the list. Like, but if your guy, if you get like Hampton, Brown, McBride as your second pick, okay, maybe Jamar Chase, that pick 3, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson kind of area is a good to go this year.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it there. And there's also a chance that you're playing in a different kind of scoring format where this isn't going to be the case. And make sure you're subscribing there as well, because on top of just doing some of these drafts with different draft boards and rankings and such, we're going to be mixing in some different formats too. We'll do some standard, we'll do some PPR. Obviously, we usually play half PPR, and that's what we try to base these rankings off of. We'll do some super flex leagues where you have a lot more focus on the quarterback. And I'm trying to remember what else I don't know if we did a tight end premium last year, but we can do a tight end premium draft at some point this year too.
No one plays tight end premium. We don't need to do that. I hope we're doing the Mayhem mock though. I hope Kempy come back for that.
He didn't confirm a date with me, but he confirmed he wants to do it. So yeah, watch for some mayhem.
All right, I like that. Well, we should get out of here because that means then we'll be closer to our mock drafts. Reminder: if anything happened, George let us know at the top. But this episode was recorded a week ago, so don't hate him. If somebody got hurt, I apologize. But that's talk all those good places. We are live on Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Come join the conversation. Be a part of the mock drafts. Heck, if we get enough people, maybe we'll make you let you make one of our picks. That'll be a ton of fun. As always, I'm Cody Roadcap. That's George Firth, and we will talk to you all next week.